Have you ever wondered how one small habit could turn a broken life into something extraordinary? That question haunted a boy named Ethan every night before he closed his eyes. He wasn't the smartest in class. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't even noticed most of the time. But deep inside, he carried a secret weight no one else could see. Ethan grew up in a quiet town in Ohio. His father left when he was 6, and his mother worked double shifts just to pay rent. He often sat alone in his small bedroom, the wallpaper peeling off, listening to the sound of trucks on the highway outside. He wanted his life to change, but every day felt the same. Empty. Repetitive. Hopeless. At school, Ethan rarely spoke. His classmates laughed at his stutter whenever he tried to answer. He hated reading aloud, hated standing in front of people, hated being seen at all. Yet, something inside him whispered, "Keep going, something will change," but nothing did. Not at first. One rainy afternoon, when Ethan was 12, he sat in the school library trying to finish homework. His hand shook as he wrote, and the letters came out messy. That's when an older boy, Daniel, walked by and laughed. "Man, you write like a little kid. No wonder you always fail." Ethan's face burned red. He shoved his notebook into his backpack and left. The words followed him for weeks, echoing in his head. "No wonder you always fail." That night, Ethan lay in bed staring at the ceiling. He wanted to cry, but he didn't. Instead, he whispered something to himself. Just 3 words, "I'll be better." He didn't know how. He didn't know when. But he felt something spark inside, a fire so small it almost went unnoticed. The next morning, he grabbed an old notebook from the kitchen drawer. He opened the first page and wrote one sentence. It was crooked. It was sloppy. But it was his, and the next day, he wrote another. Then another. What started as one sentence grew into a page. Then 2. Then 3. Slowly, Ethan began a secret habit. Every single night, before sleeping, he wrote about his day. Even when he was tired. Even when he felt like it didn't matter. He stayed consistent, but here's the thing, no one knew. Not his mother, not his teachers, not even his closest classmate. To the world, Ethan was still the quiet boy who failed tests. Still the boy who sat in the back, eyes down. Still invisible, but his notebook held a different story. A secret one. A story where he wasn't failing, he was improving. Line by line. Word by word, years passed, and the habit stayed. Through middle school. Through high school. Every night, no matter how exhausted, Ethan wrote. Sometimes about his fears. Sometimes about his dreams. Sometimes just one line when he felt too broken to write more, and then, something happened. It was senior year. Ethan's English teacher, Mr. Collins, gave the class a choice: write a short essay about the hardest thing you ever overcame. Most students groaned. But Ethan felt his chest tighten. This was his chance. He went home that night and opened his notebook. His hand shook, but he kept writing. He wrote about his stutter. He wrote about being laughed at. He wrote about the sentence he whispered years ago, "I'll be better," and when he finished, he cried. For the first time in years, he let himself cry. The next day, Ethan handed in his essay. He expected nothing. Maybe a C. Maybe just a scribble of red pen. But 2 days later, Mr. Collins asked him to stay after class. "Ethan," he said softly, holding up the paper. Did you really write this?" Ethan froze. His throat tightened. "Why, yes, sir." Mr. Collins smiled. "This is powerful. You have a gift. Don't ever stop." Those words hit Ethan like a lightning strike. A gift? Him? The boy who failed? The boy who never spoke, but what happened next will shock you. Because the essay didn't just get an A. It was entered into a statewide competition without Ethan even knowing. And 2 months later, a letter arrived in the mail. His mother opened it first. Her hand shook as she read it out loud. "Congratulations, Ethan. Your essay has been selected as one of the top 3 in the state." Ethan couldn't breathe. He had to sit down. His mother hugged him tight, tears running down her face. For the first time, she didn't see her son as the boy who barely passed classes. She saw him as someone different. Someone capable, but this was only the beginning. The competition required Ethan to do something he feared most. Something that made his heart pound harder than anything else in his life. He had to stand on a stage, in front of strangers, and read his essay out loud. The same stutter that haunted him for years, the same fear that silenced him. He would have to face it head on. He wanted to run. He wanted to hide. But then he thought about the notebook. The nights he stayed consistent. The words that built his strength piece by piece. And he realized this was his moment. The night before the competition, Ethan sat at his desk staring at the notebook. He whispered again, the same 3 words, "I'll be better," but what happened next? Will leave you speechless. The morning of the competition felt unreal. Ethan woke up before the alarm. His hands were damp. His heart beat so loud it felt like the whole room could hear it. His mother walked in holding his old notebook. "Take this," she said gently. "You've carried it this far. Let it carry you now." Ethan pressed the notebook against his chest. The pages were worn, edges torn, ink faded. But inside, it held years of quiet struggle. Years of consistency. Years of proof that he never gave up. The auditorium was bigger than anything he had ever seen. Red curtains hung high above the stage. Rows of chairs stretched into the distance. Hundreds of faces waited. Some smiled. Some whispered. Some looked bored. Ethan's throat tightened. He wanted to turn back. His legs shook, then the announcer called his name. He stepped into the spotlight. His eyes darted to the crowd. Every pair of eyes felt like a weight pressing down on him. His chest tightened. His mouth went dry. He opened the notebook. His stutter was waiting for him. The ghost of every laugh, every cruel word, every moment of silence hung in the air. He almost froze, but then he remembered. One line. The promise he whispered to himself all those years ago, "I'll be better." He took a deep breath and began. The first word stumbled. The second cracked. But he kept going. His voice trembled. His hands shook. Yet, he refused to stop. Halfway through, something strange happened. The crowd grew silent. Not out of boredom. Not out of impatience. But out of attention. Every eye was fixed on him. Not because he was perfect, but because he was real. His words carried pain. They carried struggle. They carried truth. By the last line, tears rolled down his cheeks. He didn't care anymore. He let them fall, and when he finished, the silence shattered. The crowd stood up. Applause roared through the room. Loud. Powerful. Endless. Ethan's knees buckled. He clutched the notebook to his chest and closed his eyes. For the first time, he wasn't invisible, but what happened next will shock you. Later that night, after the competition, a man approached Ethan backstage. He wore a suit and carried a leather briefcase. "Young man," the man said, "your words have power. I work with a youth foundation that helps students overcome hardship. I want you to share your story with others." Ethan blinked in disbelief. Him? Speak? Again? To strangers, his instinct screamed no. But then he thought about his notebook. About the years of quiet writing that brought him here. About the night he almost quit, and for the first time, he didn't say no. He said, "Yes. I'll try." That yes changed everything. The months that followed were a blur. Ethan traveled to schools. He stood in gyms, libraries, and small classrooms. At first, his voice shook. At first, his stutter fought him. But he stayed consistent. Speech by speech, word by word, he grew stronger. Every time he felt fear, he whispered the same promise, "I'll be better," and he was. 1 year later, Ethan's story was published in a book of essays by young writers. His picture was on the back cover. His mother held the book like it was treasure. She cried again, only this time, they were tears of pride, but the story didn't end there, because one night, as Ethan was packing up after giving a talk, he noticed a boy standing in the corner. Quiet. Nervous. Head down, the boy walked up slowly and whispered, "I'm like you. I can't talk in class. Everyone laughs at me. I feel invisible." Ethan's chest tightened. He saw himself in that boy. The loneliness. The fear. The silence. He handed the boy his old notebook. The one with torn pages. The one that held his entire journey. "Start with 1 line a day," Ethan said softly. "Don't stop. Stay consistent. It will change your life." The boy's eyes widened. His hands shook as he took the notebook. That night, Ethan realized the twist of his journey. The consistency that saved him was now passing to someone else. It was never just about him. It was about what came after. About how his small habit could light a fire in someone else's darkness, and in that moment, Ethan finally understood, consistency doesn't just change your life. It can change the world around you. If this story surprised you, give this video a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I share stories like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.